This is how Dan does his, right?
I wouldn't know if this is how Dan does his because I haven't actually done Dan's show. I'm pretty sure that I was just a package deal with you. So that's fine for my self-esteem and everything. It's great. I'm having a great time. Let's not talk about that actually. Hey dude, so the other podcast almost didn't work. I was gonna be so fucking scared if we lost 100% of Blitz's episode, because as is, like, anyone who listened to it, I'm sorry. It's not great, and it cuts off like probably at the midpoint when we stopped talking about more Dota stuff and started talking about like I don't know, sex with each other's moms and like people. So oops. But this one is going to be golden-ish. Ish. You never talk in absolutes, right? Like I can't set an expectation and then suddenly have someone, tweet at me again and be like, "Where's the podcast?" It's the same 7 people who tweet, but I want you to know that I appreciate all 7 of you.
So how have you been?
Dude, I've finally finished moving. I feel great about the move. I feel great about working from home now. My sleep schedule is kind of destroyed. I think most days I'm going to bed at like 4 and waking up at like 10:30, which isn't healthy, but there's no reason for me to not be doing that. I've been going through and watching old TV that I used to like. I went through a bunch of stuff, like old games, old TV, old comics, and just kind of made a list of things that I want to be revisiting to kind of look at them under the lens of like current day Joey as opposed to like 10 to 18-year-old Joey, and see like if I really liked it or if stuff holds up, or just kind of like analyze media a little bit more. So I'm like going through an archive of stuff that I used to really be into to see if it's still good.
And did anything like surprise you, or?
So far, so Dexter, like the Showtime television show Dexter, was probably the piece of television that got me into more high quality television. I also think that that's kind of like the age where like the golden period of TV was kicking off, right? So like there was The Sopranos and like there was The Wire and there was Dexter, and then suddenly we saw like this. It was premium because it was HBO and Showtime, at least in the States. But I think that that's really when we started to see people, television have more money put into it, have better writers, have better actors. And I think that it really kicked off this like period of stuff that, eventually brought us our Breaking Bads and Mr. Robots and what have you. So one of the first things that I was going back and watching was the 4th season of Dexter, which was the one with the Trinity killer John Lithgow, because that was always something that I've held up as a season of television that was super formative to me, and it still is engaging, but it's not quite as like sparkly as I remember. And I think that's because there's things that have come on since then that are just simply like written or acted better. And now like I've gotten used to like this higher quality standard of television. And that's kind of why I'm doing this whole experiment in the first place. So I guess I'm a little bit disappointed so far with going back and looking at Dexter as an example.
That was a way more extensive answer than I was expecting. But then I forget, like, you're really into production and TV, so that makes a lot more sense now that I think about it in that context.
Yeah, and like I guess something that I don't know how many people are going to listen to this who are like big TV people, so like I'll shut the fuck up. But like to bring it back into like games, something that people have more of an experience with. There's a lot of games that I go back and try and play, and I'm like, you know what, that doesn't really hold up, or like it's really hard to, even things that are mechanically that feel really good. Like I went back and I was playing Tony Hawk 3, which is something that I think is, legitimately critically acclaimed as one of the best games ever, if you look on like Metacritic ratings and stuff like that. But you go back, and even though the mechanics still feel good, and like the music's still banging, and there's like some base nostalgia tied in there, just stuff like seeing the graphic presentation of this old game just not really it's almost like we're spoiled now, right? Like things look so pretty and so nice that it's almost hard to look at stuff that's old like that.
Okay. I have a hard time going back and watching anything again. There are very, very few like media of any kind, whether it's TV, movies, or even books. There are very few things that I go back and watch or consume in general. I just feel like there's always like there's so much stuff still out there that I haven't tried yet. Like, then why would I go back and do something that I already know?
I feel the exact same way, which is probably weird because I'm explaining how I'm literally going back and doing stuff, right? But I can like count on one hand the amount of movies that I've seen more than once. And all these TV shows that I am looking at again, like I've never watched TV more than once. Even when I watch television, ever since I just stopped being a child and watching basic cable, I have a calendar on my desktop or like a Google Doc basically that I keep up to date with like all the shows that I'm actively watching, and it'll be like, oh, Monday, Better Call Saul's on. Wednesday, Better Things is on. Thursday, what have you, and stuff like that. So every day I'll just download that TV show, and then I'm a little bit neurotic. I keep a lot of notes, so like I have a journal that has like most of the television I've watched and games I've played, at least since I started writing.
Really?
It. Yeah. Like I promise you, I'm kind of a crazy person.
Dude, I want to see that. That's actually kind of cool.
I'll show you. Yeah, there's like Google Docs, but I actually I'm gonna keep doxing myself more and more. I try and keep like I guess these need to call it is a journal, right? But it's broken out every day, and every day I just try and like write down a little bit of what I did that day. And like birthdays, TV, media that I consumed, and it helps me kind of just keep organized. And one of my biggest fears is forgetting things. And I feel like I live a lot of my life to combat forgetting things. So the fact that like I will write down a game after I finish playing it and like kind of score it is just like a way for me to later go back and be like, what was that thing I did? Or like, oh, how did I feel about this? And even though I almost never look back on those notes, just knowing that they're there like gives me this layer of comfort that I can't forget it or I don't have to remember it, which feels very liberating.
So you're slowly going mad from boredom because of coronavirus. That's what I'm kidding right now.
a little bit. If there was more stuff for me to actively be doing right now, I wouldn't be going back and watching old TV because it also takes time, right? Like I'm probably going to rewatch all of Avatar, and I'm probably going to rewatch, other stuff too. But even that's like, 4, 5, 6 days of television that I'm going to space out over the next couple of weeks. Like it's a lot of fucking media to consume. So yes, I'm going a little bit bored. I've been trying to go on walks. And it's really interesting because everyone, at least in my neighborhood now, has gotten so good at maintaining an area of space around each other that when you're walking towards someone on the sidewalk, someone's always walking into the street to kind of like, keep that distance. I haven't touched shoulders with anyone in a long time.
I've seen a lot more people going on walks, just as like, because I have to drive to BTS every day, and so I see a lot more people. Everyone's in that same, because like even though people would spend their time indoors anyway, now the fact that they can't go out there, I think is causing some people to go like more stir crazy, and so they do exactly that. They go out for walks, even though they probably didn't before.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit. I like taking walks. I've always done it. So seeing the difference between like going on a walk 2 months ago versus going on a walk today is wild to me. The amount of people who are just out and out with their dogs, or out with their kids, or walking around holding hands. Bad social distancing, but
I think maybe if you live together, I'm not sure how much distancing you can get at that point.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I actually, on one of my walks the other day, I went into a CVS, which I haven't been into many stores in the last couple of weeks for obvious reasons. And I felt so gross walking into the CVS. Like I felt like there was a miasma in the air, and it was just different. Like there was a layer of crud over everything, and people were like wearing masks and had gloves on, like they should. But I felt so like dirty and weird and like anxious being in there because I'm like, oh, sick people probably going to the pharmacy. I'm in a pharmacy. I've been around sick people. Like it felt extra weird and dirty. And now I have like this whole psychosomatic, can't walk into CVS.
Did you like strip off all your clothes and put them in the laundry when you got home and stuff like that? Like, because that's what I did when I went to the grocery store like 2 weeks ago.
I made extra sure to not touch my face at all, and I took a hot shower after I got home, and then I did change my clothes. But I haven't washed them yet.
So I was slightly nervous coming back from the grocery store, and that was the only reason I was really nervous is because all I could think about was if I got sick, then I wouldn't be able to work ESL, and if I couldn't work ESL, I would lose a lot of money.
No, I mean,
it's not my health that I was concerned about. It was my finances.
I think that's totally reasonable. Like, I mean, you you need to be well to go to work, do that job, right? Like, that's what most people, I'd assume, are thinking about. I mean, other people are thinking about health and family if they're older, but we're not really gonna die, I don't think. So we're just worried about our pocketbook.
Yeah, everybody there at BTS is like they were all quarantined before. We are all, we've all been responsible and been quarantining. So, and it's the only thing that we do, is go there. And so, obviously, we don't wear masks and stuff like on camera, but it feels like we're very contained in that regard. And BTS has been really good about hygiene and stuff. We have our own headsets. The headsets are usually wiped down anyway between series and stuff. Like the whole area is maintained very clean. We have somebody that gets food, and he's really careful about everything. Yeah, it's been weird that in a way it's like this league is 23 days, so I think I might have talked about this last time, but it's like weird the fact that ESL getting canceled may have worked out for me better.
And just from like a pure bottom line standpoint?
Yeah, just from a pure bottom line standpoint. Like I actually ended up getting more work just because I happen to live in California,
LA, baby. Why? I haven't quite understood. So you're doing all of the leagues at BTS because ESL is doing like local leagues, right? There's an NA1 and SA1, like all the normal DPC regions are participating in some way, shape, or form. Some have more teams than others. Like I think EU's giant, where like NA had 4 teams, and they're all at night.
So we don't cover ESL, we don't cover China. That is covered by Joint Dota, so it's covered by the German studios. But for us, I think it's actually really cool. What we were doing, we just finished it up, but what we were doing was we would start with one Southeast Asia match, and then we would cover one South American match, and then we would do one Southeast Asia match. And there, we missed some matches. There was some secondary streams, but for the most part, there was only 1 or 2 matches per region per day. So we got to like just be able to go and bounce from region to region and get a little bit of that every day. Because it was only 4 teams for each of the regions, so there wasn't that many games. So I thought that was kind of cool. It's the first time I think anybody's ever really done something like that in that format.
Is there a region that you know inherently more about? Like, are you more of an NA person or an EU person, or does this give you an opportunity to like learn a little bit more than you normally would about the SA teams, or do you feel like well-rounded already?
No, there's definitely NA and SA I definitely know a bit more about because I actually run into those players in pubs and stuff, and so I'll have personal anecdotes about them, or I will at least be able to recognize their play style or say what they're good at. For Southeast Asia, that was probably the region that I learned the most about. Even though I do like watching Southeast Asia, and I knew all the teams, Drake, Geek Fam, Boom, I knew probably a little bit less about, but Their star player Makoto, I'd kind of already known he was good, but it reinforced. I think I learned more watching them than compared to the other regions because there was just less personal experience there. And it'll be similar with Europe and CIS since that's now mashed together, 16 teams. So we're going to be able to see a lot of Dota. It's two groups, 8 teams each, total round robin. So they're all
best
play
of
against
one,
each other
twos?
in a best of 3.
Oh, dude,
it's
you're gonna be
really long group stage.
because everything else is done, right? Like they finished SA and SEA and NA, so it's just looking at the EU right now for you.
Yeah, China finished up today too, so now it's just the European and CIS one that goes for the next 2 weeks. So there's a reason why there's 200K in this one and like 40,000 in the other ones.
Yeah, more teams and just more viewership. That's probably cool for ESL too. I mean, they're gonna get fucked up eyeballs on it. Is it still overnight though? Like it's bad West Coast viewership?
Yeah. So basically, they had the SA and NA games going on early to try and connect it to Southeast Asia. But yeah, we had one day where we started. I had to leave at like 11 p.m. And then we did the best of 5 Southeast Asia finals, and then we went into North America, the best of 3 playoffs, and then the best of 5 finals. And so that was. So obviously there needed to be a gap between Southeast Asia and NA because the NA guys needed to wake up. And so that was, I left at 11 p.m. and then got home at, I think 5 or 6 p.m. or something.
Oof. I mean, I was already saying that I almost have, I'm staying up super late and kind of waking up early, but that's just to flip your sleep schedule on its head can't be super enjoyable because then you got to go back and you have a girlfriend at home and
I can tell we're getting a little irritable. I could just like you can tell sometimes when talent when we've been on the road for a while, in like week 3 or 4 or 5, 6, like some of the talent get burnt out and people start get irritable and stuff, and just being people just get on your nerves and stuff, and we've just been around each other for a bit. Fortunately, we all get along together really well, but we were all just kind of like over it after that day. It'll get better now that we have like a set schedule with EU and CIS, and we have a set starting time, which I think is at 4:30, and it's a rolling schedule as well, where the other one wasn't a rolling schedule. So now
what does that mean?
It just means that once one series is over, we start the next. So obviously doing different regions, we couldn't have a rolling schedule. There was a set start time. So if a series finished up early at 2:0, then we had to just wait to get the next one going, which just meant long days. Rolling schedule usually speeds things up. So now it'll be a lot better. But yeah, when you're just around a small group of people like working, there's something different about talent. Well, there's something different about talent job. I think maybe because you have to like really put yourself out there. You have to be a personality, right? And so being around a personality for that long can be kind of grating. So it's different from like the regular jobs that I had, because obviously I was around them 9 to 5. Like that never really bothered me.
But no one has to be on. Like, hey, let me talk in my caster voice, or like, hey, let me, woohoo, isn't this exciting? When you're like, no, I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, I have a hard time like really being able to articulate how exactly the on-camera job is different, but it just is. But yeah, I mean, it's really fortunate that like the Dota scene is very much like a family. So obviously the group that we have there at BTS is fantastic. Like the core group is me, Grant, Blitz, and BSJ, and those are some of my favorite people to work with. I love working with Grant. Obviously, Blitz is my best friend, and then BSJ I've really gotten to enjoy. I think Brian is great. Brian, I love being on panel with Brian. Makes for I think we have a really good dynamic together because we can kind of argue and stuff, But Bryant is so great about not like there's never any lingering feelings. Like sometimes you get in an argument with somebody on panel and it's like it's like entertainment, but you're also kind of really arguing. Like you have a disagreement about a point. It's authentic, but it's also like supposed to be entertainment. And maybe you wouldn't have that argument. Maybe you just wouldn't get into that argument. Like for me personally, I would probably find it like not worth contesting this person about their knowledge of Dota or something about like that, but because it's on the desk and like I do need to like correct that person or whatever, then like there can be some lingering feelings. BSJ is great. Like we just like we'll have a little back and forth, him and I. It'll be really lighthearted. He still keeps like the entertainment in mind, and then we go off and we're laughing together off camera and stuff. It's great.
So like without naming any names, because that would be hella rude, like is there a scenario where you might just not engage with someone at all because you're like, I don't want them to take this the wrong way later when we're like just having chicken after the day's over?
No, I think there are definitely some people like that I feel like I'm a little bit more sensitive to. And then other people are the exact opposite where I can turn it up a little bit more. Like Kyle. Kyle's that person, BSJ is that person where I can turn it up a little bit more. Like I can disagree with them and clown on them harder because I know they're able to take it. I like to think I'm also that person. I don't feel like people make fun of me as much as they used to on panels. That used to be kind of my go-to.
I think you fixed your hair. That was the problem.
You're probably not wrong about that, but I like to think I take like those jokes and stuff pretty well. Like I make an effort to. Well, I've always done this, so it's very natural. But like, it's important for you to make sure you laugh when people make a joke at your expense. It like signals to other people like, hey, I didn't find that offensive. I thought it was funny. It was funny, so I laughed. So people just feel comfortable being able to do that, and then everyone has a better time as a result. I really respect anybody who does that, and Kyle and BSJ are two of the best at it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's important for like a group attitude too.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
There's also like the more that you work with someone, and I've been doing shows with people. My roommate, who I live with, I've been doing shows with him in a bunch of different capacities for like 4 years now. So there's something to be said about having working entertainment relationships where that you can trust someone to where you're not going to like say something that yes will be offensive and maybe could even be true about that person, but it's not going to be taken as like an assault, or you're not going to go worry about it later. Like just being able to have that trust in someone that you can be entertaining without worrying about like the interpersonal relationship is so valuable and just hard to figure out at first, because especially if you're working with someone new, like you really have to test the waters. And I'm sure it's like that, with casting with someone new or paneling with someone new. Like you can't just, maybe if you're Slacks, you can just, be yourself. And it's so ubiquitously understood that you're this person that you can kind of get away with it. But as a normal person, you kind of have to like, test the water and understand like what that dynamic looks like. And it's oftentimes better if you can, have that relationship where you're not scared. I don't even know if scared is the right word, but just where you're not pulling any punches because you don't have to worry about the other person. Like you can just riff well, right?
Yeah, I got that feeling with you too, because like we didn't really work together well, but like I picked up pretty instantly that I can make fun of you a lot, and it would all be good, And it creates a good dynamic. Like we're able to kind of clown at each other sometimes, so it's really good. Then there are some people that like I've legitimately gotten like really irritated with. I will say this on the podcast because I've told him in person as well. Like I got like I would get really irritated with Alan sometimes on panel. Sometimes that irritation with him on panel was real. The arguments we had and my irritation was actually very real. And it's just because like Alan coming from a teaching background, like and coming from just in general, like
Nahas for anyone who might be confused, right?
Yes, Nahas, yeah. His position as professor, like he is the authority figure, And on panel, it's different. I'm like 10, 15 years younger than him. I have no education, but I'm challenging him on things, you know. And so there's some things that like I would just get irritated with Alan with. I told him that recently because because it was followed up by the fact that working with him recently was like really good. I really enjoyed working with him on panel. It was very fun. So,
How can you tell when you are irritated? Like, are there signs where you start to notice about yourself? Whether it's like, do you get short or snippy, or like, do you feel like your voice changes? How do you know that like you're being like irritated or aggressive, or like might be showing it to someone?
I think I've had this conversation before, but I'm like I'm an introvert by nature in that social interactions cost me energy. I don't charge up from them. It spends energy, and so I could usually tell when like I'm just done being around people and I just want to go home. And like at an event, like I'll put on my headphones in the car and just listen to music and not interact with anybody, so I can kind of recharge, because I don't want to be irritated with anybody, because I do like everybody I work with, you know. It's just natural in like interpersonal relationships. You're going to get in fights sometimes, right? It's like when you're dating somebody or you're married to somebody, like you're going to have arguments and stuff, but you love that person to death. It's just natural, right? So I could just kind of feel it. I get tired, and I get irritated, and so I just don't want to be around people, and so that's what I do. And so that's why when we were doing the other episode of the podcast that we just recorded, it's going to be released later for you guys listening. That's why I started off complaining, because I had just gotten home and I didn't want to be irritable on set, but I just needed to get something out, you know.
And now you're talking to me twice and expending even more energy. So poor.
Yeah, podcast is a little different.
Fair. I feel like I only let people who I'm really close to see when I'm irritated, because when I'm annoyed at someone, I know that I start to get mean. And I've had that like ruin relationships in the past, where I'll be irritated for whatever reason. It might not even be that person's fault, but then like my default setting for like comedy, if nothing else, is mean. So I kind of notice when I feel like I'm not in a good place, and then I want to remove all possibility of me insulting someone, because I just start to lose my filter. But when I'm around someone who I'm more comfortable with, you know, old friends, my parents, family, like I know, and they know people when I'm when I'm like not in a good mood, just because I'm mean.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Not a great quality trait. I've done a lot to get rid of that over the years, and like just by acknowledging it. But still, like sometimes I think my mother sets me off more than anyone else. And then I'll notice when I'm being a shithead, because I'll just like be really short, and then I'm like, what am I? Why am I doing this? Like my mom doesn't deserve this. Like there's nothing bad happened. Why am I suddenly in like this situation where like I'm drained from people, and now I'm, you know, being aggressive? Like that's shitty. So
I keep things bottled up more. I'm really good at letting things go, but things can build up on me, and once I do pop, I can get really vicious. I get like, when I get angry, when I get mad, I get big mad, you know. So I know what you're talking about.
you get like scary dad mad, like.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I'm always worried about people getting mad who are very articulate people, and I think you're a very articulate person. So I feel inherently more scared of those type of people like mouthing off, or like releasing and popping off, because I know that if they want to cut, they like have the vocabulary and the ability to really cut deep. So I feel like I try and avoid confrontations with people who I know who can like articulate well, versus people who just be like, scream, stupid, blah blah blah.
Blitz irritated me once to a point like I actually got mad and we got into an argument. And I said something that was quite mean that I knew would get under his skin. and then we got into an argument, and we said some mean things back and forth. This was all the way back at MLG New Orleans, and we had just gone from like, yeah, this was a long time ago. This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh wow, that's a long time ago. Wow, that's when MLG was doing Dota too.
Yeah.
That's even longer ago.
The worst part is we had to go into a cast. So we were sitting on the casting desk having this argument back and forth, and like Blitz got real silent. I got real silent. He was on like fucking Reddit or whatever. I was doing something similar, and then it took like probably 15 minutes, and then I was finally like, I was like, okay, I need to apologize. So I apologize. He said, we'll figure it out. We casted together. I don't think anybody actually noticed. And then he went off and like did his own thing, and he came back, and then we actually had a really great night that night. Our friendship got closer as a result of that moment. But yeah.
Sometimes it happens, but I mean, that also could have had the exact opposite effect, right? Like that could have been the other fork of the road right there. Man, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for this event. Not only is it like one of the only things MLG did for Dota, it's back when MLG was joined up with Join Dota, which is why the commentators were Toby, you, and Blitz. And like Malik was there, and Nahaz was there, and the host was Zoe. So like, it's Monkey Business was a team.
Yeah. We had just gone from, we had done like back to back. So we'd gone Europe to America for an event, and then we'd gone back to Europe for an event, and then we've gone back to America again. And we were just like, I remember I got sick during that time. It was just like, we were really miserable and irritable, and there was some like stuff going on with Join Dota that we weren't happy with, and there was just a lot of things going on. The important thing though of all of this was that like when you get into the argument or whatever, it's like important to recognize when you were wrong and to apologize. Because if I didn't apologize, then like who knows what could have happened with our relationship.
Or you can even extrapolate that further to your career, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe people should take that nugget of information and bring that into their pub games next time that they do something fucking stupid.
Nah, fuck them. Those pubs will never see you again. Flame the shit out of that guy, and then fucking GG out, disconnect.
That's so interesting. I used to be, when I was significantly younger, like not a good person in pubs, particularly in Counter-Strike. I used to be someone who would like point out everyone's mistakes, like talk about what kind of an idiot they were for like not knowing how to do flashes, or like criticize people's opping while they were opping, while I was dead, mind you.
Wow.
And I can't pinpoint the moment in my life when I stopped doing that, but it was sometime when I was playing Dota, because I think when I started playing Dota and I was doing public matchmaking, just solo queues, I used to be toxic. Not all the times, probably as like an outlet for, hating the rest of my life or something, but there was like a noticeable. That was a joke, by the way.
Don't worry, I got it.
You laughed, but someone listening might not have laughed. I heard that. There was definitely a turning point, and I wish I knew where it was, where I just decided, like, I'm gonna stop being shitty to people. And I think it's because I started realizing that I just simply won more games when I was relentlessly positive. And then I think that it really stemmed from like wanting to win more and recognizing a correlation between, hey, if I'm nice to people in pubs, I think we do better. And ever since then, like, I feel like I've really tried to promote the whole PMA thing.
So did you really become a better person, or did you just become smarter about your gaming?
I think I became smarter about my gaming, and then I was able to extrapolate some of that into real life scenarios. Because I think this was also the time where like I was like starting to work in more professional environments. Like I was getting out of school, I was trying to like have a life, be an adult, interact with people, and just kind of taking my personality and having it be more positive as a default state. I think just showed positive improvements to everyone else around me that I never really recognized. And I'm like, oh, like I'm not faking it. Like I'm not being fake positive in a Dota pub or in a meeting at work, but just by kind of being a little bit more happy-go-lucky and just complimentary, like it seems to make other people happier, and I think I like that. So it's like a weird feedback loop of like, oh, like this is better in real situation, it's better in pubs, I'm winning more games, it's better in life, I'm better in pubs. So maybe it's just wanting to have, I think, you know what, the point that we're getting at here is that I became a happier person holistically because I wanted my MMR to be higher.
That's true. Higher MMR, the more happier you are as a person. That is definitely not true, judging on my pubs. There are some really miserable people in playing pubs and being in the 6K, 7K. I think when you put that much time in a game and you haven't made it like at the highest echelon, like you haven't really made it, something about like you've just sunk too much time into that game at that point, you know? I think something starts to sour.
Have you achieved like a rank in any other game similar to your Dota?
In Halo 2, I was very good. I was the highest level in matchmaking you could get.
Did you also notice a similar effect then, where like people were shittier on voice comms?
I don't know, man. I was fucking like 12, 13 at that time. Like, I didn't pay attention to that shit. Plus, it was Xbox Live, so you know everybody was toxic as hell.
That's true. I didn't play a lot of Xbox Live. I feel like Halo really passed me up. Halo was always the game that I got to play on vacations with my friends or something, and then I'd be like, "Oh, this is so much fun!" And then I'd go back and be like, "Oh, I'm playing Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 1 on the PC with custom maps because that's the only Halo on PC." And that was like a real sour point. I'm like, "Mom, I want to have an Xbox so I can play with my friends."
You missed out on a golden age of gaming for sure. You know, I recently ran through co-op in Halo with Trent. It was a good bonding experiment. It was a good bonding experience, not an experiment of bondage. That would be something very different.
Yeah, he has a wife.
But yeah, we did that, and we'll probably just as they come out, we'll probably do all the games. I think it'll be a good way for us to build some personality as a duo.
What's the best way to do that? Is that just because they released the Master Collection on Steam?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how we were doing it. Yeah.
Are you an ODST champion, or are you like more of a Halo originalist?
No, I was Halo 2 and Halo 3. I don't think I even really played any ODST. That was about the time that I was getting into PC. But I suck now. Holy shit. Dude, I haven't played any shooters since Halo 3, basically. So I'm just terrible now.
Dude, I was playing so much Valorant that I use this might be relatable to a very few amount of people. My mouse of choice is a SteelSeries Rival 600. I like it because I really like heavy mice. This is not an ad or promotion. But one of the things that annoys me about this mouse is that on the side, they have like silicone grips that are glued onto the side pads. And I was playing so much FPSs for the first time and like so vigorously over the last couple of weeks that I melted the glue underneath the silicone pads, and it was disgusting. Like my mouse on my right side was just like a glue ball. I had to like go plug a different mics in and complain to SteelSeries to send me new side panels.
Huh. I have a hard time picturing any of that, but I quite like my Razer Death Adder. Also not an ad.
Also not an ad. I've been using the same keyboard for almost 10 years at this point.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I have an original DOS keyboard Ultimate Edition, which is one of the keyboards that DOS made that has zero markings on any of the keycaps, so my keyboard's blank. And when I was 16, when I was 17, dude, I thought it was so fucking cool. Because I'd have my keyboard, people be like, whoa, dude, there's no fucking letters on there. And I'd be like, yeah, don't you know what the keys are?
I'm such a gamer, I don't need to look at the keyboard.
Yeah, I'm terrified of when my keyboard is eventually going to die because it's not going to work forever. But I've gotten to the point where I've used it for so long that one day it's not going to work and I'm going to be big sad.
I quite like my Huntsman. Highly recommend that.
So you used a Razer shell. Are you also recording?
Yeah. Razer, hit me up, please.
Man, my gear's all over the place. My mic's a Razer mice, a SteelSeries keyboard, a DOS keyboard, SteelSeries mouse, Asus monitor, Logitech webcam. I got no brand loyalty. I'm all over. Dude,
I've got 3 different kind of monitors for my triple monitor setup. They're all different heights and shit.
Do you have one of them that's vertical? I have a 3 monitor setup now. Like my main Asus G-Sync monitor, and then my TV is also connected to my PC because I basically watch everything on my PC, but my TV is a secondary monitor, so I drag stuff over there and then watch Netflix in front of my bed. But I just installed a 3rd monitor, which was one of my old BenQs that I bought at an MLG in I think 2010, and it's broken because the viewing angle on it is dog shit. But I started doing a vertical monitor for a secondary monitor, and I gotta say, I think it's the play.
Okay, I don't think any of my monitors can go vertical, but I'll try it eventually.
I'm gonna get you a vertical monitor.
Have you played any Dota, by the way?
Whoa! How dare you?
You've been playing too much Valorant, haven't you?
I still don't know if I'm supposed to or not supposed to talk about that. I think I can say that I've played it. I've played a lot.
A bunch
of
of streamers have said they played it. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, now I can, but I couldn't. That's been the last 3 weeks of my life, dude. And this weekend isn't active, and next weekend it's back. So I have to. I'm gonna force myself to play Dota for a period of time where I'm no longer bad at Dota, and then I want to play some games together so that you can talk on the podcast about how bad I am. And then I can just feel horrible for 45 minutes. That's how does that sound to you?
Yeah, that'll go real well.
That's a chore, right? Because you're going to have to play Dota with someone who, if I was sitting at the 5s, I'm probably low 4s, if not below that at this point. So you're talking to someone who's going to be half your MMR, who you're going to be playing games with. That there's no way, shape, or form that's enjoyable, right?
I only have 2 modes when it comes to playing Dota, Joey. It's try hard, I want to win, or it's totally don't care, fuck around. So you're going to get the latter, because if I play with you, I will probably lose my mind.
Yeah, and I don't want to sully our relationship because you realize that you know what, dude? I'm still only 90% sure where the new jungle camps are.
Yeah. I haven't played any Dota for 10 days or something. Because
you've been working so hard.
Yeah. Oh well, it's also just when I am watching Dota, for that day, I don't want to go home and play Dota. I want to when I'm at events and stuff. I want to play Dota. That's all I want to do. But it's not on the same day. As weird as that sounds. Once I'm done with work, I want to be done with work. I don't want to go home. For example, I missed a message until last night that we moved up our call time by an hour. And so I had to get up an hour earlier, and I only found out right when I was going to bed, which kind of sucked. But the reason that happened was because I don't look at the work messages on my phone, because I want to separate myself from that for a while. So I probably won't be playing any Dota for another 2 weeks, which is going to be really long time for me not playing Dota but being home. I don't think I've ever gone that long.
Like a month, yeah. So I got about 2 weeks to train up enough to not be completely embarrassing. And
Yes.
then ESL will finish, we'll play some games, and we'll do an episode about how bad I am at Dota, and then I'll probably want to delete it because I'll be embarrassed. I'll be like,
Sounds
oopsie
good.
doopsie, the recording stopped.
I do swear to God, Joey, we will put out that episode. If I'm gonna make the effort, if we're gonna play together, and all this, that episode will go out.
You make it sound like a chore. Can we not find other people who are bad that you can play with? Where's our other bad friends, right?
I don't really have like a whole lot of bad. Like my bad friend is Jack. It's KBBQ.
He's also good.
He's immortal,
Yeah.
but I think he's terrible.
Do you ever play games with people who are lower than immortal on purpose?
No, like yeah, like sometimes, but it's in like fun party stacks. Let's say.
Okay. We'll have to get a fun party stack going. Maybe we'll pull some other people in so that I'm not like the only person who like is the focus of your ire.
It'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
It'll be great. And then maybe one day we can play Counter-Strike and I can be like, ha, I feel superior. And then we don't have to record that. It'll never be important.
Oh yeah, I'm shit at shooters. God, playing PUBG, like I'm the worst. I'm such an anchor. Like I legit can't play that game though. It's so boring. When it was like the hot thing and like Blitz and Melk and Samel were playing it and stuff, like I would play it because it was kind of fun hanging out with them. But that game, fuck, the game's so boring. Warzone looks so much better.
I was gonna ask, have you played any Warzone?
No, I probably will not. But I watched some and it looks way more fun.
Yeah,
The Gulag is so hype. By
it
the
really
way,
is. It really is.
that's such a good concept.
The only game like that I ever truly enjoyed is Apex. So everything else, like I never really liked PUBG. It was like too slow. And then first person mode came out and I like wasn't about it. And the Call of Duty ones were like fine, but they always felt bad to me or like I could never get invested. I got up into a high platinum in Apex. So I played that for a hot minute. But I like the way that Respawn makes shooters. But anything else is just like, I'm gonna play more Dota.
Good.
You gotta keep me accountable on Dota and keep me accountable on losing weight.
Oh, Jesus, I've given up on that.
What? How's your push-up challenge?
Because, no, I'm still doing the push-ups and stuff, but, I was trying to, eat better, remember? But I can't do it during events, because food is, it's a supplement for sleep for me. It was that way in the military, too. Like, I just feel like it gives me energy. You know, it's not caffeine that I drink, I eat food. I mean, some of it's like sugar, so obviously that legit does give you energy. But whenever I've been tired and stuff, I will eat. That's also why I can't go I can't go to sleep hungry. That's another thing that I have that's really bad.
Yeah, that's my friends were like, oh yeah, I just go to sleep hungry and then I wake up and I'm fine and that's how I lose weight. And I'm like, that sounds like an eating disorder. Like, how can you actually go to bed hungry? What?
Yeah, I think I had to go to sleep all the time hungry in the military, so I just it's I don't ever want to do that again.
Are you
doing? I don't know what that is.
Are you doing any of the bread baking in your house, or is that solely not your responsibility?
No, Ellie is making all the bread. She in fact is sweating right now because it's so hot in our apartment because she is currently rising some bread. And she just showed me a loaf. Actually, it looks great. She's a very good cook and baker.
I'm gonna have to get tips. That's one of my new quarantine goals is to make a loaf of bread. I've never done it before.
I also brought home a loaf of bread for a regular store bought bread that BTS got for me. We have a guy because they're at their Airbnb. Grant and BSJ share an Airbnb, and they get them food like grocery stuff. For after the day if they want to eat at their house, and they asked me if I needed anything, and I was like, I looked kind of guilty because I was thinking about asking for bread. I was like, nah, that'd be a little weird. And then the guy who was doing it, his name is Marshall. He's very nice and very professional. He was like, no, what's up? And I was like, He's like, I can get you something. Like, don't worry about it. I was like, I could use some bread, and he did. He got me bread. So now we've got store-bought bread and homemade bread.
I found eggs at the market for the first time in like 3 weeks, and that was kind of hype.
Oh shit! Was there toilet paper too?
No toilet paper, no cleaning products. But Ralph's over here in LA is mostly stocked from my experience now.
We got really lucky. We just happen to have a bunch of toilet paper in our apartment, so we haven't gotten any stores yet.
My butt is privileged, and I'm a strict baby wipe person at home. So
wait, only baby wipes?
Yeah, I'm a bidet.
You're not supposed to
baby
flush
wipe
those,
person.
dog.
You get the ones that are meant to be flushed, and you only do one at a time.
They say they're flushable.
They say they are. Like, that's all the culpability that I need. I'm like, the package says flushable. I'm fine.
Well, you're in an apartment, so, all good. But once you get, like, your own house, you're going to ruin your plumbing that way. And that's going to be a very costly mistake.
But would I be worth amortizing that cost over every poop I take having a sparkly clean experience?
Dude, plumbing is not cheap. I promise you it's not worth it. Just get a bidet, dog. Just get a bidet.
Dude, I tried to... So, I had a bidet at my old apartment. I tried to order one for here, but because of the whole fucking toilet paper pandemic rush hoarding thing, that also turned the bidet market on its head.
Oh,
and
yeah, dude.
The price of bidets have literally quadrupled.
It's time to invest in a bidet company.
Yeah, one that used to cost like $20 is now going for $100 on Amazon, and they're not shipping for weeks because there's been such a hard run on bidets. And when I got my new job and when I got this new apartment, I told myself that I was gonna spoil myself just a little bit. I got new headphones, that was nice. But the other thing I was going to get was that I was going to buy myself like a Toto bidet washlet. Like, I was gonna spend like $300 on a fucking bidet. And I bought it, but now it's never coming. So eventually I will run out of baby wipes and I will run out of toilet paper. And if the bidet gets here before then, that'll be the goal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing as the index. Quarantine happened, everybody was like, I need some stuff. And I'm sure the index was one of them, just like you broke and bought it, and bidets.
Yeah. No, everyone who I tell who I have an index is getting pretty excited for it, because that means that eventually they can borrow it. So all you got to do is have one friend who is the hookup, and now I've just become the hookup. So I look forward to sharing the wealth as much as possible.
I will. I may take you up on that offer eventually. We'll see.
Oh, you will. I know you will. And if not, I'll just force it on you. Like, you'll come over and I'll just give you a bag and I'll be like, here it is. Have fun. Yeah. I don't know if you know this. Oh, man, fuck. We've already talked about it in the podcast about how we're recording this a little bit out of order. Damn it, that's a bad setup. Do you know that next week Slacks is going to be on the podcast? Which is exciting, yes, because we've been trying to do it for a minute. And, it's not in person. It's not a video podcast. It's just going to be another audio one. But we have what I assume, I have no idea if it's going to be good or not, but I'm gonna take a guess. I'm going to take a wild swing into the wind and say that it is going to be a very spicy, high energy, just good episode that has a lot of slacks in it and a lot of good times. So I would very much look forward to that next week.
It's easily our wildest and dankest podcast.
Yeah, easily. I'm guessing. But please come back around next week for that. He wants to see if he can beat our Teasies numbers. So good luck, but you're gonna have to help him. During quarantine, if you're someone who is primarily a YouTube viewer, I am sorry, because we have this is going to be another one that is primarily audio, and then we'll the YouTube will just be a picture of something, nothing to look at. Slacks will probably be that way too. Hopefully by the time after this, you can have Cap come check out the new apartment and we can do one in person. But until then, if you're a fan of watching our faces for an hour, Well, first, I'd ask why. That seems like a chronic waste of time. But secondly, that's still not here and won't be here for another minute. And blame Corona, not me.
Just shuffle off laziness onto the coronavirus.
Hey man, a lot of people are taking advantage of it. So if I'm to shuffle off laziness onto COVID-19, god damn it, I'm gonna do it too. But until then, you can still listen to us on our beautiful clean audio feed, Spotify, Apple. 5 stars helps a lot. Leave us a review. We'll read it on the show. We'll send you something if we read it on the show. So please give us those 5 stars. It helps the people who help us know that people actually like this. You can follow us on Twitter because that number is very important to me. It's at Leafeater, but it's Leafeator, not ER because I'm dumb. And Capitalist is still Dota Capitalist, even though he's now rebranded to Cap, right? They're already following you. I'm not going to plug you. This is very self-centered. Listen, follow us for show updates. Listen wherever you want. Thank you for reviewing. Thank you for being with us. And now, before we leave, Cap told me that he was going to leave you with a nugget of wisdom that I've been very excited for him to share with us because I've been waiting all hour for it.
What you, Grant? You're just setting me up. Dude, Grant does that to me on panels sometimes. He just wildly sets me up without any warning that he's something. My nugget of wisdom for the week is to use water to clean your butt and you'll be a happier person.